Hello, friends and fellow students of the Starry Cloth. This is Molly with Radiant Guidance. I'm bringing you the temporal waves or the cosmic weather report for the final month of December 2024. And I want to take a moment to talk about the importance of winter solstice and, Sag season, December in general. It actually can be a time, and I've noticed this just amongst peers and friends I've been speaking with, can be a time where people can be in a darker headspace. And Sag, with its arrow cast towards the light, wanting to shoot its bow towards that illumination and bring that divine optimism back, can be really important to tune into that energy at this time. It can be very heavy this time of year. There's literal less sunlight that we're receiving. We are biological creatures, and so it can be very challenging. I can speak for myself. I get very affected by the seasonal lack of light. It can inspire a lot of existential dread. However, it's important to remember that, across prehistory, they erected sacred structures that were constructed in order to give importance to the sun solstice location. And I've been blessed to, in this pilgrimage I've been on, I've been visiting many megaliths, which are essentially these great stone calendars. And they align in a way with the earth to form literal calendars on the landscape as a mirror to the stars and a reminder that the light will come in. And especially given the right orientation, we can see that. We can see that the light is returning. And so just want you to remember that in many traditional astrological cultures and histories, the 6 months where the sun's northward movement was happening were typically seen as more favorable times. And perhaps that's why we have these celebrations at the winter solstice. And we have to kind of rally together, right? So the new moon today on the 1st of December is in Anuradha. And it is symbolized by this beautiful multi-petaled lotus. And this nakshatra in the sidereal zodiac, it's actually a Scorpio nakshatra at the very end of Scorpio, but it's all about a later victory or like a subsequent success through hard work and devotion and going through emotional upheavals and the knowledge you attain through that and getting through difficult times and calling upon allies for really attaining goals through group and collaborative efforts. And through that, we can have triumphant successes. And so it is not necessarily the best day with the moon in this nakshatra for beginning things or starting things. It's a very reflective, contemplative energy. And challenge yourself to not get lost in that reflection. It can be difficult sometimes when so many planets are retrograde. With this Mercury retrograde in close proximity to the new moon, that can sometimes lead us looking backwards or feeling really contemplative. And especially this time of year, that can sometimes bring up some negative or more difficult emotions. Try to really utilize that energy for research, utilize that energy for revising a vision you have. In the tropical, this would be in Sagittarius, and Sag is all about dreaming big, but perhaps we need to slow down just enough to figure out how we're going to realize those big dreams and ambitions. On the 13th to the 14th, we have the Geminids meteor shower. It is close to the full moon, so you would have to go more rural to have some visibility of some of those beautiful meteors taking off. On December 15th is the full moon in Mrigashira nakshatra, which is the deer, the symbol of the deer. This full moon will coincide with Mars, Mercury, and Jupiter, all retrograde. And so again, we could be reviewing the past. And Mercury is actually quite strong with this full moon as it'll be stationary direct. And so it's at a kind of a commanding, powerful position right before it turns direct. And it governs the things of communication and the intellect. And so we can look forward to that next day moving forward and feeling like things could take off again. The full moon is in a nakshatra very auspicious for travel, exploration, sexual or creative endeavors. So get ready to take off that second half of December. These on the left are just some key dates where we have exact conjunctions. Take note of the conjunctions to the moon because if you like to look at the stars in the sky and you look at the night sky, on the 5th, the moon will be conjunct Venus. And on the 7th, we have Venus conjoining with Pluto. On the 8th, the moon is conjunct with Saturn. All right, without further ado, we're going to get into planetary motion and then the key days of intensity, days of harmony for December. So we have Neptune turning direct on the 7th, connecting more to our intuitive forward motion of our dreams. You know, it could be kind of a time where we could be, when it was retrograde, having a lot of very intense, vivid dreams, and some of them might have been a little disturbing. Mercury was in Scorpio, and so sometimes that can bring up some like deeper or darker themes. But yeah, Neptune will then go direct for most of December. On the 6th, Mars turns retrograde. And so that can be kind of a time where we can feel sometimes frustrated in initiatives or our energy lagging a little bit. So again, it's more of the hibernation period as we get into winter, but try not to get frustrated. And then on the 15th, Mercury will go direct again. All right, let's get into the days of intensity. So December 11th, December 17th, the 24th, and the 27th are all more tense or energetically shoddy days, with making particular note of December 27th. If you know something called electional astrology, it's the idea where we would pick a certain day to undertake something very important so that it can work to our advantage. The 27th would be like the opposite of a good electional day, just because it's a great example of like what not to pick. When you pick an astrological election, like to get something to be successful, you ideally want to have Mercury strong. Obviously not retrograde if you can help it, which it won't be anymore on the 27th, but it will be squaring Saturn exactly. So that can kind of stifle Mercury's efforts. Venus will be squaring Uranus exactly. So if you were like wanting to do some sort of a makeover or get a haircut or do something related to your appearance or an important, God forbid, surgery, this would not be a good day to choose for it. Venus squaring Uranus is like things can look a little different. And then we also have a debilitated moon. So really with electional astrology, first thing you can take into consideration is the moon. Next thing is usually Mercury. But we have basically many factors that are kind of acting against things going as you would expect. So keep that in mind. Let's get into the key days of harmony for December. On the 4th, the moon is with Venus conjoining, and the sun is trining Mars, which can be a very like inspirational and luxurious energy on the 4th. The moon is in the nakshatra Uttara Ashada, and it's great for initiations of all sorts, public or political matters, or dealing with authorities. On the 9th, we have a moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, conjunct Neptune, trining Mars and Mercury. When I looked at this day, I really thought of being really tuned into one's intuition, being a great day for meditation, being a great day for anything spiritual. There could be a lot of intuitive insights one gets on this day with that that trine of Moon and Mars, and then Moon with the intuitive Neptune. And the Moon is in Uttara Bhadrapada, which is a very psychic nakshatra. On December 14th, the Moon is with Jupiter, and the Moon is also trining Venus, and Jupiter's trining Venus. There's just a number of very harmonious aspects on the 14th. If you were going to plan like a holiday party or get together, I would choose the 14th. It's a very lovely day, and it's in Rohini, and that's all about nourishment and nurturing. And so anything you're trying to grow or launch or really feed, even if it's just yourself, it's such a beautiful energy for that. Very nourishing day. On December 23rd, we have the Moon trining Jupiter and Venus. This is the Moon will be in Hasta Nakshatra. It's all about handicrafts, using one's hands. Buying and selling can be very favorable. Activities with children, so it could be a really fun day to engage in some fun crafts with the children in your life. It's right before Christmas, so that could be a really fun day to do an outing with family members who are little ones. It's also great for holistic treatments or receiving hands-on healing or offering that to people. And then on the 29th, we have the Moon sextiling Venus. It will be in Mula Nakshatra, and so it's all about getting to the root of the matter, gathering knowledge, honoring the ancestors. Anything where you're speaking or needing the help of people in higher positions can be also useful, that you need to use kind of an assertive energy. Mula is great for that. So, without further ado, that would be the astrology for December. If you have a birthday this month and would love to get an astrology reading, or you want to get it for a loved one for Christmas, I am available for consultations. You can book on my website below. You can check out the retreat I am planning for spring of 2025 to some of these sacred sites. And it will be really a journey of the inner and the outer planes, a very nourishing soul retrieval type of 7 days in Sicily, where I am going to get a villa. We're going to have delicious food. We are going to learn about some of the lore and the history of astrology, walk amongst the gods of goddesses and goddesses of the Mediterranean. So if you're interested in that, check out the link below on my website. I'm wishing you all a very blessed holiday season, and I'll see you in the new year.